Hi everyone, welcome back to Memory Maven's Corner. I'm Jennifer. This is part 5 of the mini-series. Today we're going to be doing some embossing and the final decorating on the album. So let's get into it. On the left here I have examples of what I've already done. So to create this you're going to need your stamp. You're going to need a embossing ink pad, clear, mine is from Ranger. And then you're also going to need your embossing powders. This is Wow. The color is bright opaque white. What you're going to do is you're going to load up your stamp, center it where you want your picture to be. Make sure you place that down nice and firmly. And this sheen right here, that is the stamped image, and that's what the powder is going to cling onto. So you're going to apply a nice even coat all over. Make sure you cover the whole image. And then we're going to dump off the excess. Now, if you have a powder brush or a satchel filled with powder, this will come in handy for embossing because you apply it to your paper before you stamp, and it you don't get the embossing powder where you don't want it. It helps it not cling. But I just kind of brush it off, and then I go off camera and I blow off the excess, and it comes out just fine. Now I'm going to grab my heating tool, and I'm just going to start embossing, heating up the embossing powders. And you'll notice whenever it's melted, because it'll turn a different color. See, the one side's nice and glossy and the other side is still matte. Just make sure you go evenly over the entire image, and you'll definitely tell spots you've missed because it won't be glossy like the rest of the images. And then you just go right back over it. And I'm just going to do the same process for the second one. I also have a video on the other photo mats that I did in a separate video than this one. I'll leave that in the description box below, so anyone who's interested can check that out. A small paintbrush would also be really good right here instead of using your finger. Be good at getting the fine details. Just make sure you don't touch the image, because once you touch the powder, then it's kind of ruined the look of your stamp. Remember, when heat embossing, you want to make sure you move your heating tool around your image. You don't want to leave it on one spot for too long. Now that we have our photo mats all nice and finished, we can go ahead and start working on the inside of our album. For the inside spines here, I like to cut strips of coordinating papers that will accent the spine here, because it's usually an empty space, and I don't like to leave a lot of empty spaces when I'm decorating. So I like to use that as an opportunity to go ahead and fill it in just a little bit, just to give it a little pop of color there on the spine. On the inside cover here, I'm going to add one of my photo mats. In deciding how I like to lay out everything, I don't always line everything up smack dab in the middle of the page, because at the bottom right here there's about an inch or so. I always go in with a little banner or something really cute, and that'd be a little journaling spot for under the photo. And here I'm showing you how I left the top of the little flower flourish. I only glued down the very tip of it to the paper, that way you could slip in a photo. And here, these are all I have left of the collection. I literally used almost every last little piece of paper in this album. The beginning photo mats we made are going to be for these inside of these flaps here. And the yellow page right here in the center, I'm going to leave that as is in case the customer would like to collage a few different photos on there, or she could add a 5x7. And then on the left flap, on the inner port, since it's nice and white right there, you could use that to journal. So I'm just going to arrange my ephemera in a way that I think is pleasing. Usually I try to work in odd numbers when decorating with ephemera and other pieces, because odd numbers are pleasing to the eye. So as I'm laying down these pieces, I also like to keep in mind what direction I like the eye to flow in. So I'll have the butterfly coming up in one direction, and then your eye will go that way up to the ephemera card, and from the ephemera card, your eye would be drawn with the other butterfly up to the right. And this is just little things I think about when I'm designing how the eye is going to perceive the images and what's pleasing and aesthetically to the eye. I'm going to grab the two long photo mats that we embossed in the beginning of the video. I'm going to go glue those down, one on the top and one on the bottom. These are also embellished already. I left a little piece behind where they can tuck. I'm gonna have to go back and fix that one little stem. It needs to be glued down in another spot just to keep it from moving like that. So I'm gonna go back and do that later. And then we're just gonna glue the other one down on the top flap. Now you could use pop dots. I don't recommend it in this section. If you were trying to create some dimension, this wouldn't be a good spot for that, because once you close it, you still have to fold it into the other paper, and you want to be sure it's not creating too much space in there. So that's why I went ahead and just layered them on top of each other. On the inside of the flap here, we're going to glue down a couple of our embossed photo mats. I'm going to arrange them like so, to where on the right side here, she has space to journal and also a little space to write a date or something on the left side of the bottom photo mat. This page here, I'm going to leave open like I did on the other page. That way she can collage or add a 5x7, whatever she decides. Now moving on to the waterfall, I'm going to leave the backs of them white so she can add photos in the front, add photos in the back. And then I'm also going to glue down these little strips of teal cardstock right in the middle of that white space so it's not so stark and bare. Any place I can add a little touch of detail, I usually do. And a waterfall right there, that space creates a perfect little spot for a pop of color. For underneath the waterfall, I created a tuck tab by layering 3 pieces of cardstock together. And then I'm just going to glue the very top strip right here. Just one line at the cross at the top. And then glue it down here. Let that dry for a minute, and that will allow you to take a couple of your photo mats and tuck them right in. I like that the little bit of black that's going to be showing at the bottom coordinates and matches with the rest of the page. For the back pocket right here, I'm just going to add a few of my ephemera pieces, and then I'm just going to add in the photo mats that we created earlier. The ephemera on these photo mats is glued down just at the very top, so you still have space to tuck in a photo underneath them. And I could have swore I had another photo mat that goes here, and I seem to have misplaced it while I was doing the video, so I guess you'll see that in the final walkthrough. And I'm just going to continue on decorating. As you can see from part 4, remember I left too much space there, so I went ahead and cut some blue strips of paper and added them to the negative space right there, and I really liked how that came out. And this front page is pretty much done. She can go ahead and add photos anywhere she'd like on this. I left it pretty open for her to decide how she'd like to put her photos on that page. And on the back, we come to our final page with our little mini pocket flip book. So right here, I'm not going to make photo mats for that. I'm allow her to use that for storage for extra photos or little tidbits she wants to remember. She could slip those in the back. She can make a little journal note, slip it in back there, remembering dates and times or special moments for every little thing that's inside. And finally, we have the back cover. I layered up some triangles on top of each other to make some little triangle tucks, little tuck pockets. And I'm going to add in the photo mat I created for it. And this one is a little snug. And I'm just now realizing in the video that that one was for the front cover. And the one I have on the front cover was supposed to be in the back. But that's okay, because all I have to do is take a 1/4 inch off of each side and trim it down a little bit, and it's going to fit just perfect. So bear with me for a few seconds while I get this photo mat resized, and then we can move on. So as you guys can see, I don't use a paper trimmer. I would love to. I've bought a couple different brands of paper trimmers in the past 2 years, and they either break on me, or the blade goes dull after a couple uses, or it frays my paper, or it doesn't cut my paper straight. So if you guys know of a brand that has worked really good for you and has held up for 2+ years, please drop me that link in the comments so I can check it out, because I would love to. And I'm just going to re-round my edges now using the 10mm side here. That way, because I rather nice curved edges. I find it more elegant and softer than having hard, rough edges like a square. Here on the back, I cut out the name of the paper collection that I'm using, and I layered it, added some ephemera pieces to the back. And then on the spine, I layered up a couple different pieces of paper together, and I added an ephemera card on back to the cardstock. And all I have left to do now is to add a chain and a charm closure. And then I will be finished. Thanks to everyone for watching part 5, for liking and subscribing to my channel. And if you haven't subscribed yet and you enjoy my content, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and also hit the bell so you're notified of new videos.